Well, hello and good evening, everybody. It is Tuesday, September 19th, 2023. Welcome to the only show hosted by Spartan Dawgs. And we talk about Spartan Dawgs. This is Sparta MSU. I'm your host, Jason Strayhorn, along with my co-host, the boss, Otis Wiley, and Jehuu Caulcrick. If this is your first time to the show, we welcome you. If this is not your first time, we want to thank you. We need you to hit that like and subscribe button. Be sure to do that, and then follow us on all of our social media platforms. Go to the live chat right now. I mean, we're getting primed up right now. Everybody's in there. That's where the party's at, and let us know where you're watching us from. Because I see you watching us in Jamaica. We got people watching us up there in Canada. We got people watching us in Los Angeles, California.
Los Angeles.
Yeah, the city of angels, baby. And Houston, Texas. Guys, look, we got a jam-packed show today. We're going to talk about all things Michigan State when it comes to the game against Washington. We're going to talk about the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Obviously, we're going to get all into the details of those people, those fine people who were able to get inducted this weekend all around Michigan State athletics, by the way, not just at Michigan State Hall of Fame, but also the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame. But the story that's leading the headlines that everybody has been talking about, and we must lead the show off with this today. It is the suspension and now firing of Mel Tucker, who was served notice by Michigan State Athletic Director Alan Haller just a day ago that he intends to fire Mel Tucker for cause, for embarrassing the university, and then Mel Tucker's response. Gentlemen, let's get into that right now, and feel free to send us questions, and we'll talk with you as well while you're in the chat. Chew?
Yeah, it's definitely one of those situations. It's an unfortunate situation. We talked about it the whole time there, and some processes and stuff had to be in place there, but it's just something that, the school and Allen feel they had to do. And obviously Coach Tucker, he's going to fight back, at this thing, because there's a lot of money that's on the line here, for him and also for the school. If it's not for a cause, they're going to have to pay him, money. But that's why there's that going to be that argument. Is it for cause? Did he break, the moral turpitude clause that's placed within the contract there? So it's going to be a long process that's going to be drawn out. Two things can happen. One, they can just go behind closed doors and settle this thing, and both parties move on, or they can drag this thing out and it can become a messy situation played out in the media.
Very true. And I know this is Otis. This is his favorite subject matter right here. We've dealt with a lot of controversy at Michigan State, obviously, just in the last year. And this is yet another situation that we are forced to deal with. Not something fun, right, Otis, that we have to talk about. But I think we owe it to the listeners that you must cover it. This is something that is, on everyone's hearts and minds.
Yeah, I mean, flashback quickly to Big Ten Media Day. And just the vibe, the tone, we were getting this thing back going, and how quickly this thing has fallen. And I think it's more so personal. It's more personal for us, obviously, because we live it, we breathe it, we bleed the green and white. It's our program. It's like we want our program to be storied. They want to be consistent. You always. I hate when people not hate. I dislike it when everybody's waiting on. Oh, can't wait to basketball season, and it's that element of man, it's kind of just embarrassment. It's an element of the news, the way it's happened. We should obviously be in this predicament or this situation, but you gotta move forward quickly. There's no waiting until October. You got to make changes now, because now, once this happens, it's like the clock starts where everybody that's out there looking for the head coaching job, or, that's next in line, or would like to come in and turn this around, everybody's ears perks up, right? Like this, you got to do it now rather than later and just ride this all the way out where it gets even worse. But it's unfortunate, man. I think the kids itself, me and Chu went through that firing with John L. Smith.
So did I. I went through one.
Yeah, you did too. And honestly, man, I told somebody this earlier today, like I don't remember having this much support in the situation with this transition. Like the kids, how are they doing? The coaching staff, like we didn't have all these resources that were available to us. Like it was so quick that it was like, all right, we're in limbo now, waiting on who the next person is to take over the program. So I think we're in a better place when it comes to supporting the kids and the student athletes and the coaches that are there. But yeah, it was a tough thing because these kids were ready to get this thing going and battling for, accomplishing their goals that they've been preparing for the summer. Clearly, they were not prepared for obviously what is transpiring right now. And so it's how do we overcome? How do we get to the next, obviously to Maryland, to Saturday, and putting a product out there that's competitive through the midst of the noise and distractions? How can we put this to bed and then start competing and getting ready for obviously Maryland coming into town?
Yeah, Otis, I'm going to jump back in there with, it's like you said, we live it. We're in the thick of it. We come on every Tuesday and Thursday, and we do this show here. We go every Saturday. We're at Spartan Stadium, or if the Spartans are on the road, we're on the road, covering Michigan State. So, wherever we go, people are looking to us and saying, hey, what's going on at Michigan State? What's going on at Michigan State? All right. And I'll be 100% honest. It's not fair. It is not fair to us to have to answer questions for something someone else did or what the school side of things are, because we're not in those meetings. And you know what? It's sure as hell not fair for those student athletes, to bear the brunt of this here. It's not fair for the alumni base that's out there, and having that slight cloud over them every time they wear the green and white and they go out in public, people asking them these questions and everything. What is fair? It's fair for us to come together as Spartans. It's fair like the very beginning of the game last year, last week, when that stadium was electric. Everyone came together. That walk from the Kellogg to Spartan Stadium, everyone was together. That's what's needed now. It is not fair for the alumni base. It is not fair for us as people covering this team. It is not fair for those players, especially because these are kids. And people say kids are resilient. Bullshit. These kids, they have emotions as well. They're going to have to figure it out somehow. They're going to carry this with them as well. We can't hide behind kids are resilient, all the time. These kids need us as grown-ass adults to be there for them and support them, because whatever the case is, and I'll be 100% clear, Coach Tucker should not have put himself in that position. It's that simple. He shouldn't have. I don't know what happened behind it and everything like that, but it's not fair for these kids. What are your thoughts on it, Stray?
No, I think that was very well said. And I mean, it is an emotional subject matter, for all of us. Everybody that's watching, everybody who's listening, it's a very emotional subject matter. And it's, we talk to players. Like, let's just keep it real. Like, we talk to players. There was a players-only meeting before the decision was made to elevate Harlan Barnett to be the interim head coach. There was another meeting had just before the news broke that Alan Haller and the Michigan State administration was going to send notice to head coach Mel Tucker that they were going to fire him for cause. And, those players are hurting. They clearly are. They had another meeting for former players. It was a Zoom that we were all on last night. No one really knows what to do with this. There is no blueprint. There is no manual that says, okay, if your coach does something unethical in week 2 of a 12-week season, this is how you have to handle it. And this is, look, I lost a coach in my freshman year, in George Perlis, and this was in week 10 of an 11-game season, and that was hard for me. I can remember that vividly. You didn't know what was going to happen next. Didn't care who the next guy was, and whoever the next guy coming in is going to be a complete opposite of the guy that you chose to play for, and we didn't have a decision. I didn't have a decision to make, because if I decided to leave Michigan State at that time, then I had to sit out a year. I hadn't played a down. No, where are you going to go? It's different. You guys went through it with John L. Smith losing his job in the middle of the season. So it was a little earlier. You knew it, but he did finish, if I'm not mistaken, that season. And then you come in with a completely different mindset and a new coaching staff, which so happened to be Mark D'Antonio. Mine so happened to be Nick Saban. So going through that shift and everything, you guys had to stay the course. You did not have the transfer portal, as I didn't have the transfer portal. So I look at where we are today. It's the same characters, similar story, but different rules now. Completely different rules. And when you look at this and you try to strip away the emotions, you try, and it's not easy because this is still so new for us all. What is going to happen? I try to look at what is the next step, where could things go with the rules that are in place and the team that you have. And as I understand, the rules are, and Otis can help me with this, like when a coach has submitted a notice of cause to fire him, I believe the transfer portal window opens up immediately for 30 days. Is that correct, Otis?
I mean, that's correct, but I mean, I feel like it don't matter because kids can hit the transfer portal regardless of this what's happening, right?
There's a time.
But I'm saying like there's a window, yeah, for active. But I'm saying like I can decide like, you know what, I'm done. I'm going to go ahead and chill. I'm going to find somewhere else. But I think this is an element back in the day we couldn't do this, right? Like you had to think real long about your situation of like, is it really this bad, or can I persevere and maybe I need to reevaluate myself and my effort, try to compete for something. But I think, yes, you have that window of time where I don't even want to bring it up because I don't want to encourage our guys, but clearly they haven't. It's
not
fact,
encouraging. Right? We're not hiding anything. Oh,
I know that. I know that. But I'm saying like these guys, I just don't find it easy out, right? Like I think we go back to it. Long gone are the days where kids are deciding, or some kids may, but kids are deciding that I'm going to go play for the university, the school that I love. Like, yes, the coach is one thing, but coaches come and go. And we all know that, right? And I think that it's inevitable that we're in a different day and age now. But if you chose to go to the school, you went there because, hey, I fell in love with the school elsewhere than other schools I had interest in. But, yes, that opens up. And you obviously, I feel like you're going to start maybe seeing this, right, from our guys. Like, it's too hot right now. Like, it's just too much that we have to endure, that it's stripping away from the experiences that they thought they would be experiencing if this was a smooth sail. Like, we already had the mass shooting. We've obviously had the dark eye of what just happened. We still are in flux of like, who's our leader for our university? So there's elements of just not knowing that it just keeps stacking. And I think me personally, I'm like, what's next? Like that can be right. Like, is there another issue, or is there another something coming, or are we going to get to the next stage of like, let's heal, let's move down, and let's level, let's level set, let's get back on track. Like, I don't know what's next, but I obviously don't live in that. I just obviously day by day, God's mercies new every morning. But it is real. The human element of it is you're just looking for the next thing, and it's like, why is at our university at all costs, like all the time, I feel like. And that's what these players are dealing with. Like, you can transfer, hit it, but like mid-season, it's really, I don't know, it's detrimental. Like, you can't just go to another program and immediately be like, hey, we're good. Like, there's elements, they got to ride this thing out if you're going to be smart about it. Something to your point, Straight, some guys don't even got film. Like, they like, based off of what we're gonna break it down, based off of last Saturday, like that ain't film you want to really put out, from a standpoint. Or so I'm just really being honest on it. Like,
well, that's you're right on point there and right on message, Otis. The conversations, I know that we all get calls and we talk to players and we try to counsel them. We mentor them as big brothers, uncles, whatever you want to call it, as guys who've been through this program before, not having a transfer portal, that doesn't matter. We understand that just because you can do something doesn't mean that you should do something. And most of the players that are, entertaining that in that locker room are guys who have not played and are unhappy, are still going through the initial, hey, I need to grow up as a young man. I need to be a better player. You have to handle your business a different way. And a lot of times that is uncomfortable. You're kind of going through the fire to be able to learn how to be a college football Division I player. And I told him, look, we have private conversation, and I know this is a family show, but I the way I feel about it is like, you can try to do that and you can accelerate your retirement from this game, because the portal does not guarantee you a landing spot. It definitely doesn't guarantee you a landing spot at the level of Michigan State or above. And that's what I think a lot of young players can think. When things get hard, then I'm just going to take off and go. But that's not always the answer. And I would caution most players from doing that. Yes, Peyton Thorne was able to do that, and he has it's a different circumstance. Yes, Keon Coleman was able to do that. Totally different circumstance than what we're going through right here, right now. And yes, I understand that it may be that, and guys are pointing to feel like who's the leader, and it's going to take leadership from within to hold everybody together. And you talked about the coaching search, Otis. You talked about that. Like, okay, we have Harlan there in this position, and you have a lot of outside noise talking about who's going to be the next coach. People are posting all day long, the top 10 new coaches. And I mean, they're going back to Nick Saban. They're talking about the guy from Duke. They're talking about D'Antoni. I mean, it's running the gamut right now with all that outside noise. But the guy who's there, like this team, what they have is an opportunity today. They have an opportunity to prepare today like their life depends on it, because it absolutely does. What they put on film on Saturday on that field in Spartan Stadium absolutely is the resume for what people consider them to be as a player or not. So I just don't, you don't, this is not time to mail it in. We've all gone through hard times. Did any one of you guys, either one of you, face zero adversity as you came through Michigan State as a football player?
Absolutely. I wish.
Have you ever, I'm going to ask this one, have you ever felt like maybe this game isn't for me?
Oh, yes. With the dog days, absolutely.
Everybody felt like that.
Those dog days, baby. Good Lord. I flash back and I get tired just thinking about it. Like
always that too. Like back when we used to do 2-a-days, and then you get done with that one, you hurry up and eat, you go and you sneak a quick nap, and that alarm clock wakes up, goes, and you're like, damn, maybe I can just lay here and just forget it.
Right. You see the other guys in the dorm hanging out, playing video games, playing drinking games, and you're walking to practice. Early in the morning, it's quiet, it's cold outside. You walking across that frozen tundra trying to get to winter conditions. Like, that's not fun.
Look, I flash back, I go to detail exactly where I was at when I had this conversation with self. It was Friday. We was opening up. This is back to look, you can't wait for this, right? Shoot. This is back with John Elway. Like, if you weren't dressing, like you sitting in the stands with your family, bro. Like, and that was the most disrespectful thing I ever kind of experienced from the standpoint of like, bro, I done came here and I'm sitting there. I done made blood, sweat, and tears practice, and I can't even dress. And right then and there was like, oh man!
You had to use one of your own comp tickets.
Use one of your own comp tickets, and then 3 for your family. And so this is the worst part that I flash back. I use this as motivation. So in Case Hall, I'm getting ready to go to the game. I'm in the dress. I'm in the elevator. Random families on there. They're like, "Hey, you look like you play football." I was like, "Yeah, I play. I'm on the team." Man, they was like, "They're playing right now. You're not on the team." Like that right there, man. Like I swear to him, oh my God. Like he already know we had that conversation. So that night, man, I walked from Case Hall to Brody Hall to go to by myself. And I was just like, this ain't it, dog. Like, this ain't it. Like, why would you put me here in this situation where I ain't flourishing? It was a selfish prayer, too. Like,
they're playing right now.
They're playing right now. Like, that really humbled me. And I promise you, Stray, that next Sunday, I was like, I had a mentality. It was like, somebody's got to pay for this. And I was going out there just knocking, like, scout team. I was being like, True talking about, you had the scout team. I'm trying to crack this depth chart. Like, I feel like I was an embarrassment to my city, like where I came from.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And those are elements that these kids, you go through it, man, like mentally. We ain't had no resource to go to talk this through to a psychiatrist or talk it through sports. It was like I got to do something about it. I got to go change the tide for myself. And I'm going and I'm flying around. I'm knocking people out. I'm hurting myself. And as soon as that dress list came, I was second depth chart on special teams. And I was just like, I kept thinking about that conversation. I was like, I'm on the team. You feel me? And those, it's stressful. Like, I think about these kids got more things to deal with. Distractions, like, NIL. It's, hey, now I got a coach to your point. New one's coming in. He's going to clean weeds, pull themselves, like Coach D mentality. That's now everybody's thinking, I can't even focus on getting to Maryland. Like, I'm trying to focus on, like, future versus, like, living in the present moment when the moment is so chaotic.
The moment is what you have to get through. You gotta be where your feet are at, and you gotta get through today in order to get to tomorrow. And that's where I think a lot of the players are getting lost. You brought up NIL. I mean, that's a lot of talk too. Like, as the NIL starts to evolve, there's going to be mistakes made. There's players on a lot of teams, not on a lot, on every team in America that are getting paid more than guys that should be getting paid, if you know what I mean. That's just a fact. And players take it personal. They do. And then they hold it against the university. They hold it again, and they start having these internal feelings, and they act out on them by, I'm going to leave, go to the portal. I'm going to do this. And that mood, that whole vibe infects the locker room, infects the team. And then you go out there and you have a game like you had this past weekend against Washington. Now, this team had more than NIL on their mind, obviously. This team is hurting because the coach that they all mentally signed up for is no longer there, and it's hard. And though Harlan is a great guy and he's a Spartan dog, it's incredibly difficult. Like, I look at Coach D'Antonio. I know Coach D'Antonio as a defensive back coach. I remember him getting literally undressed by Nick Saban on many occasions, at practice, as Nick does with a lot of players and coaches and staff. Didn't matter. He ruled with an iron fist. Mel Tucker was on that same staff as a GA. And I mean, he was scared to death all the time. But over time, they've gone to different places. I've seen Coach D'Antonio win a national title as a defensive coordinator at Ohio State. I've seen him get a head coaching job at Cincinnati. And then when he returns, he's in a different light. Same thing with Mel. It's different now. This is a new team. When you go from one seat to another, from literally one day to the next, that's a tough sell. It is a tough sell. And so we have to get behind Harlan and the leadership and everybody. Like we talked about on that call yesterday with the old Spartan Dawgs that are there. Everyone needs to get behind this team and try to mentor these young men through this traumatic time and give them sound advice, not selfish advice, but sound. And that's really what we're doing this for. We're doing this so not only to educate the fan base that is hurting right now, but we're doing this selfishly for the program. We want this program to be successful because it's ours. We are the program. This all the people who've come before us, the guys who have played today and the ones that are coming after us, it's our duty to do everything we can for these young men. And I feel a heavy sense of responsibility to do it and to have these tough conversations. I would rather not talk about it. But what good am I if we don't do that? That's selfish of me and the two men that are on this show with me if we don't do it. So I just, I'm not trying to preach and give everybody, all this, but this is just what's on my mind. And we have to do better. We have to try to put our arms around this whole entire sports community. This doesn't affect just football. This affects every sport. Every coach is having trouble recruiting. Every parent is wondering what the hell is going on. Is it safe up there? Because it brings back all the other feelings. And we know we don't need to bring the guy's name up there with the monsters that's been on campus before. This brings up a lot of emotions that we shouldn't have to deal with, but we are. So we have to do the hard work. We're doing that, and people, this is not easy. I know, Otis, look, this is hard for all three of us up here. And we're towing the line, not trying to get too emotional about it and say things out of turn in this cancel society. But I hope that our heart comes through in this. So you ask me, that's how I feel about it. And I guess from that point,
it gets a little bit worse, but it's all good. We about to recap this what was on the field, product wise. Like,
let's go.
Let's go. Let's roll with it. Like,
yeah.
I think. Go ahead, Stray. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
Look, I was
into the X's and O's a little bit.
I had all my eggs in this basket. Clearly, I was talking like this is going to be an upset, and we about to take care of business. Yes, I was feeling that way. I was talking to everybody about this is how we're about to come out, right? The environment when we ran out was like, Chew called me, was like, I was getting emotional up there. Like, if I got chills when that thing came back on Thunderstruck, right? Like, that just brings you back to like nostalgia. Like, I would have goosebumps. I'm talking to corporate partners and like, I had to stop, pause, and just take it all in, where I was just strictly like, man, we're about to do something great tonight. And then I just don't know what truly happened, but
we kicked off,
and you know how you look. What Mike Tyson say? Everybody has a plan until you get hit in the mouth. And Washington came in, was like, I don't care what's happening on this campus. We got goals too. And I think there was an element of they started out straight out the gate, set the tone, and we were not ready to match that tone. And that was from start to finish. And you can feel the sense of we're trying to overcome, we're trying to use what's happening as fuel, and it just backfired because there's times where you just can't get through that wall of I'm trying to compete. Like, I felt, and we can break it down even further, but that's my initial thought of when we started at 5 o'clock. It was all bad. The momentum was just quickly deflated.
Yeah, we'll get into the X's and O's, the details, the stats of this game, and break it down after this message from our friends over at IHOP and SeatGeek.
Introducing new buttermilk biscuits in sweet and savory flavors, so everyone can have their perfect biscuit. Or add one on the side. Get a breakfast biscuit sandwich with a side for just $7 for a limited time.
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like the High Five Strangers guy. Game-winning interception? First down? Just a nice, solid tackle. If you're in arm's length, you will be swapping skin with this extrovert. You see, he knows SeatGeek got him a great deal on tickets, so he can focus on what he does best, smacking palms. SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
All right, guys, welcome back, man. And had a little intense discussion there, but now dropping them stats gets our mind focused back at the task at hand. Let's get into the Main Financial Group game day stat breakdown brought to you by Main Financial, Spartan Nation's #1 wealth manager. This is mainfinancialgroup.com. Jordan and the guys over there at Main Financial Group take great care of you. Put those stats back up for a second. We got Noah Kim. Spartans are 2-1. They fall to Washington 41-7. Noah Kim 12 of 31 for 136 yards and an interception. Chew?
Yeah, you go to me for this, huh? Because
hey, listen. Hey,
it's that old additive. It's that old additive.
Come on now.
As my grandpappy would say, the same thing that make you laugh will make you cry. And we're all crying right now, but the whole thing is this: at the end of the day, we could not get in any type of rhythm from the offensive side of things. We could not get in any type of rhythm, and it was a lot predicated too because we could not establish a run game. Yeah. And when you can't establish a run game, it's really, really tough to call plays offensively because you become very one-dimensional. You get, they know, hey, they can't run the football, so we're going to put a type of defense in there, and we're going to tee off on the quarterback, and then we're going to sit back, and we know they're passing the football. Now, your secondary, your DBs and stuff, they're on their heels as opposed to on their toes trying to decipher is it run or pass now, because if you can't establish a run game, you don't have access to fully your playbook. So that was one of the biggest things. I think our offensive line, they got handled, to put it in a nice way on Saturday, by Washington's defensive line. And it is what it is. And, Coach D always said, we are who we are, and that day we were who we were. We were a team that could not establish the run game, and we couldn't make adjustments to do different things. So when you can't establish, when you're unable to establish the run game, what a lot of teams tend to do is they tend to say, okay, we can't establish a run game. I'm going to just put my quarterback in and we're going to throw the football around the yard. But what you have to do is, one, you have to first build your quarterback's confidence up. You got to do what they call high percentage throws. You got to come up with different ways. Put 3 steps, get the ball out of his hands, give it to your running back in the flats, set up screens, and let your playmakers do it. Do a jet sweep, do a reverse, do different creative things that can get some type of momentum going for you offensively. And even if you don't score, helps you move down the field and gives your defense some time to rest on the sidelines as well and keep the high-powered Washington offense off the field. We were not able to be creative on the offensive side of the ball. We were not stout up front with our front 5, and Washington's defense had a field day with us.
Speaking of the overall stats, you look at the total yards for Michigan State, 261 yards of total offense to Washington's 713 yards of total offense. It was a clinic. And Otis, when you look at what Michael Penix was able to do, Michael Penix Jr., coming into this game, we knew he was a good player. Last year, we've seen him a few times now as an Indiana quarterback and as a Washington Husky quarterback. 375 yards, I believe 4 touchdowns in the first half for Michael Penix.
Frustrating, obviously, to say the least. Where's the competitiveness in our guys of we knew what he's going to do. What is the element of where is the leadership on the field? Like, coaches make the calls, players play, but where was the leadership of the guys of hey, coach, I got so much confidence in my leadership. Call a timeout. Let's reset here, because this was an element of just they had consistency going down in the pace down the field in big plays. They knew the holes in our defense. And they just basically took from last year and just rolled over into this year of we're going to do the same thing. We're going to keep coming. We're going to keep coming. And eventually they'll fold early or they'll wear down. And I think from an element, there was no one on that D that I saw that was stepping up and vocalizing and trying to get this thing back. One stop, one play at a time, one stop, guys. We just need one stop. Momentum changes. I think that's an element of the weight of what was happening this past week. I think that just ultimately just takes it out of them. But I feel like this is, in order to turn the tide, we're going to have to have some guys and the players, not just your main guys that are your Trey Mosleys and your captains. It's got to come from guys that we know have opportunities to lead, and they just did not.
You saw players. I mean, I've seen breakdowns happen on one side of the ball or certain areas, certain levels of the defense or offensive line's not clicking, but it seemed to be across the board, the performances. And I talking to coaches, they said that they seen things they had never seen out of players on Saturday on the field. And, we had the videos all broken down, but we have some video issues right now. I wish we could show you some of these things in color. So for those listening on podcast and versus the people here on YouTube, it's about the same. So we're trying to be descriptive here, but there was a play where Michael Penix, took the snap in his own end zone by the tunnel. And he camps out, about 5-6 yards deep in the end zone. I mean, there's barely any pressure. I think late in there, Derek Harmon did come in late as he let go of the ball and hit him. But, I mean, the ball's in the air. The linebackers, there was 3 backers. It was the base 4-3 defense. They're standing at the sticks. And Otis, you can help me with this as defensive guy. There's 3 linebackers standing at the 10-yard, the first down marker level. They didn't care about the first down. He throws it 60 yards in the air for a first down over the 50 to Odunze. And there was no contest for it. I saw Bradley going up there. So tell me what your thoughts on that.
I mean, let's just, at the end of, obviously no pressure to the last second. That's not blaming the front. They did what they're supposed to do. But for us, you saw Odunze have Chuck blocked, boxed out. No matter what he could have done, he was boxed out. If he would have went inside, it would have probably been a touchdown, because if you would have undercutted it, or if you would have, honestly, if you can't, it's like pass interference to solidify another down. But the safety, on my standpoint, I'm looking at the safety. This is not just a rope, right? It wasn't a laser. This had a little bit of a punt trajectory, like an Aaron Rodgers would do on desperation, but it was right then and there, right where it needed to be. As a safety, though, I'm looking at Penix. I'm looking at, if I go left, he's basically trying to look me off. So I don't know what happened, but we obviously are late to the game on the safety spot. Chuck was in position. He couldn't do anything better than he was in position at the hip. But as a safety, you got to go out there and grab it out the air. It has so much time to where that could have been an interception or a pass breakup from the safety. And yes. And so there's this elements of, yes, we have some great safeties. They're young still. And you got to take that consideration too, that they're still young and you're playing a high-powered offense on a prime-time kickoff against an opponent that you didn't have that much time playing against last year. But you got to go out there and get that ball out the sky and aggressively. And I think that's an element that we just didn't have from the safeties too, is you got to be present and helping these corners out on that deep post.
Michael Penix, Jehuu, he ends up 27 of 35, 473 yards, keeping his average well over the 460 yards per game. And almost 300-yard receivers. Odunze, 8 catches for 180 yards. Polk, 5 catches for 118. And Jalen McMillan, 4 catches for 96. 2 of the 3 of those guys look to be called, their name to be called in the first round of the NFL draft, along with Michael Penix Jr.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And let's not lose focus here. All right. One, we got drugged. They dragged us through on our own home field. We know that, we get it. But also give credit to those guys. They had some athletes on that team. The wide receivers, very impressive, strong hands. If you had a DB that's, on their lower body, those guys are plucking the ball and hanging onto that football, in there. So they had some really good athletes on that field there too. But I also feel we did not play up to par. I think, to Otis's point, you have a play until you get punched in the mouth. We got punched in the mouth, and we just didn't know how to respond. And the big thing is, and I guarantee you this, Washington's head coach was in that locker room all week long. He told those guys, two things are going to happen, guys. One, the Spartans are going to come out there and they're going to be really inspired and play through. It's going to be a tough game. Or two, if we go out there and continually punch them in the mouth, they're going to crack. And the latter seemed to happen. We cracked, but you know what? As they say, 2 tears in a bucket. You know the rest. But we gotta learn, and we gotta move on from it. There, we give Washington their props, give them their flowers. They were a hell of a ball club. They came in.
That's a CFP 10 right there. That's a college football playoff team right there. Like
exactly.
No doubt, yeah, what I mean, no doubt. But the competitiveness, it wasn't at that level.
It was not there.
Yeah, it wasn't there.
That play right there. You see that one? That was one of the bright spots. You have Simeon Barrow hitting the arm of Michael Penix, which caused the errant throw on third down. There was some bright spots early, especially in the first quarter defensively. And then there was a play where I think it was a third down and long situation, and the true freshman, Jordan Hall, was able to get a hand on it. He tips the ball, and in that situation, 9 times out of 10, that's an interception because it was floating up there. You saw
it last night in the Steeler game. A tip ball, pick. It was a pick six.
Yeah. Yeah,
look, I wish we would play that
touchdown though. That's when you know you're having a really, really bad day. But go ahead.
I wish we played that play when they was driving on the goal line and Jordan came in and knocked that running back out. You know what I'm saying? From the standpoint, that's that gall, like that's that dog right there. Like we're getting stalked, and you see him playing still and like still emotional and still passionate. And I was like, it's time we got to figure out who really wants to be out there fully competing every down. Like, we got to find those guys. And we have them, but you got to bring it out. And
that is
Jordan legit got that.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Otis. That's when you find out what a true dog is. When you're getting your ass kicked like that, and you're still playing, you come up with a big hit and you're getting excited and you're showing emotion. What that says is it means something to you and you care, you give a damn, that is what it showed last night. And like I said, I'm thoroughly impressed with Jordan Hall. I think he did a tremendous job. Now others need to follow that kid's lead. They need to follow his lead there because that kid's a stud. And what these kids have to realize too, before we get off this topic here, and I think, we talk about this, behind the scenes, how the game has changed, with the influences of NIL and, people making, this amount of money, that amount of money. What they forget is, man, you almost got me there. I almost dropped that F-bomb. Forget NIL. Think NFL. This is when we played, all three of us on this thing, when we had games like this, we circled those because that was our money game. That we called those money game because those are games that you go out there and you put film on tape for the scouts because it's a top 10 opponent coming into your stadium where you're going there. That's the game that they're going to be like, okay, what is he doing of best on best? How are they performing? Not Central Michigan, not Richmond, but those types of games. And when we go into the Big Ten schedule, but those games early in the season was circled by us, and they were called money games.
And you know who did circle it was Washington, because now you're gonna see all those receivers and those highlights in the NFL, and it's gonna be deep balls caught, and that right there, and that gets me so fired up, man. Like it's just. And I know we're going to see, practice tomorrow morning, and you just got to see a different tone, different energy. Like, listen, we know we didn't put a great product out, but we still got a long season to go. So let's tighten it up, man. Like that's really like this. It's just one loss, but the way we lost is really the most impact versus just the one on the loss column.
Yeah, they beat us into thinking we're 0-3 right now, but we're 2-1.
He's like, absolutely.
All is not lost, when you look at Michigan State season, and they obviously had a bad go at things with, look, college football, I'm not just going to say young people are resilient, but the way college football goes, I mean, you can see a team rally and have really bad performances and snap back and then go on a run. They can. It's a complete possibility, but everybody's got to be on the same page and everybody's got to have the same focus and attention to detail that it takes. A lot of times, pressure can do two things. We all know it can burst pipes and it can make diamonds. And they're under pressure right now, internally and externally. But the only thing that matters is those young men that are on that field on Saturday. Whoever those 11 are out there, and I mean that 11, not 12 with the special teams, 11 that are on the field at any given time, you just play that play to the best of your damn ability, man, and with everything you have, and good things happen when you do that. Guys, look, I know we can –
listen, before you go,
Hey, listen, Coach, slow me down. Slow it down, fellas. Let's go.
All right, go.
Go ahead.
No,
I have a
go.
question for you, Otis. Watching our defense against Washington's offense, and we talked about this, playing some press coverage and everything like that. We played a lot of the zone. We were dropping in the zone and everything. And Maryland had similar offense like that. We're going to talk in depth about Maryland on Thursday. We're going to break down film and everything like that. But would you have continued to play that soft zone and try to have that keep everything in front of you mentality, or what would you from a DB side of things?
Well, it's tough for me because it's we pressed. I don't care. We're gonna beat you at the line. Win the battle at the line.
When you say
right?
we, what do you mean we?
I'm saying playing as a player. When I play, there's a difference where we had corners and we have those corners, but you got to take it. This is a competition, bro. This is 1-on-1 every down. We got to win the battle, and we're pressing, and we're gonna live and die by the press. Now, there's times where you switch it up because you got pressures, and you got to do some zone, but mano a mano, man. Win the battle at the line. There's elements of even rerouting when you get to the running back drops to hook curl. You got to knock these receivers off their lines. These receivers are coming full speed off the line, not touched, and I got to backpedal and turn my hips as quickly as possible to adjust. Where a linebacker, or even if we're cover two, corners are able to slow it down just by punching a couple times, just making it a struggle. Some of these times where these guys are coming free, wide open, and Penix is just sitting back there looking at different progressions, hit the fifth option. He had every option open. And that's an element of I'm trying to punch you in the mouth every down, every play, and we live and die by it. That's just my mentality. And I think that's where we got to line it up, and we got to say, hey, we got dogs too, and we're going to have to be able to rise up, and let's just live and die by pressing. And because right now we got to slow it down. We got to slow it down because you got another quarterback coming in here who torched us at every level last year. And that was midline, behind the linebackers and our safeties. And you look at that first drive that Maryland did last year, it's going to be trouble if we don't slow it down. If we gotta fight them coming off the line. A great question. But I want to add to it. Coach B's going to get us right. You heard, I have full confidence Coach B's going to get us right. And that's why I said it's one loss. But you got to know Coach Barnett is in the vault right now. And he's about to get these guys right and tight. So buckle your seatbelts, still support. But if you ain't in there supporting,
plenty of football left.
Plenty of football left. Don't be a fair weather. Don't be a fair weather. That's all I say.
Hold on. So Trevor, Trevor brought up the question I think that you asked, Chew, about the defensive zones and all that. And you said, it seems we had no pressure. Can't we use some Narduzzi A-gap blitzes or something? Now, I called the game, and I thought that I saw a lack of pressure coming from the linebackers, but upon further review, there were pressures coming. And it was mostly in the first half when the game wasn't completely out of reach. I don't know why we wouldn't continue like it wouldn't when the game got out of reach to put pressure, but there was pressure coming. There was linebacker A-gap blitzes. There was a lot of not the cross A-gap blitz, but there was pressure from Halliday. There was pressure from Brule. I saw it. I saw they were sending guys. They were sending corner blitzes. There was pressure. They just weren't getting home because the offensive line was doing such a great job. We opted to do a lot of stunts, twists that, we have big defensive linemen, and large defensive linemen are just not really quick as an offensive lineman. When you're trying to twist and stun on me, you better be damn fast, and you got to get to, ear hole guys. That's what they teach them, to try to, whoever the penetrating guy is has the ear hole, the center, the guard, whoever it is, to get him off his rocker, and then the looper has an opportunity to get to the quarterback. But when we're averaging about 6'5", 310 across the board on the defensive line, just not that effective when you have a great quarterback and a guy that's a first-round talent in Michael Penix Jr. Doesn't get any easier as you have a Tonga Valoa coming into Spartan Stadium this week, who's a little bit more elusive. He can run around. And
he can beat you with both. You're right, Stray.
Yeah. Now, I've been bashing on it, obviously, but I'm just keeping a buck. But, Mangum had 8 tackles and 1 interception, right? Like, there's still some good in this standpoint of, like, we still have, like I said, we have guys that are capable of doing it. It's really understanding it's going to click and it's going to be a better product, more so on the competitive level of compete till it's over, and not just let this happen like it did last weekend. But I know we've been speaking a lot on it, but
hey, like Stray said,
let the spirit move you.
Don't come back and say, man, why did it go so long? Just so you know.
We're going to talk about the elephant in the room.
What's that?
We're going to talk about the elephant in the room that people trying to, ask about there, the quarterback situation.
You gonna point out the elephant in the room?
Shirt that was the elephant.
I was gonna say that. That boy looking like the galaxy, boy. I tell you.
Straight. Straight said, you get that shit look like you should be drinking a Mai Tai.
Right.
See, just galaxy explosions.
You're like Terry Crews.
Universe. Oh man.
Look, let's get some good news and come on, man. Let's get to the good news of some of the stuff that happened as this week transpired last week. Of all the news, there was still some good happening. Celebrations.
It's customary. Look, nobody has ever said that Katin Houser is a bum. He's not. He's a very able quarterback, and we have a lot of depth at quarterback. So clearly, when you have a quarterback that's a QB1 and he struggles, there were protection issues, a lot of them. He got hit early in the ball game on an unacceptable play. And we've talked, I've had a conversation with the guy. Unacceptable to give up a hit on a naked bootleg. Just can't do it. Just can't. That you just don't allow that to happen. I would rather see an offensive lineman tackle somebody blatantly in the middle of the field than to give up a hit on a guy as he's reaching and throwing the ball and hitting him in the shoulder. That's dangerous, and we were fortunate that he wasn't put out of the game for that. So Katin Houser, yes, in mop up late in the game, it was way out of reach. He was able to come down and limit in the shutout, which was great. And it's good for his confidence to be able to do that. Similar to what Noah Kim had done a year ago, guys. So look, nobody's saying that anybody's, less than in this situation. But right now, Noah Kim is still the guy. Don't start that quarterback.
Noah Kim is the
relax. That's what it is. People relax.
And Noah Kim's the starter. He should be the starter. He won the position in spring ball. He won the position in fall camp. Obviously there's something there. But the big thing that we talked about, and we all said this like before the season started, and we all said we want to see what he's like when he gets hit in the mouth. He got hit in the mouth this week. Let's see the bounce back this week. In this Maryland game. Let's afford him the guy that won the starting job. Let's afford him with that opportunity to go out there and continue to prove why he's the starter. So that is what it's about there. So Hauser did a great job in leading that 99-yard drive. Excellent job. Kudos to him, for doing that. That's putting the team on your back, going, diving in the end zone, doing all those things. We, truly appreciate it. Happy for him. Happier than a pig in shit for him for that, So, but Noah Kim is the starting quarterback. He earned that position. Let's give him a chance. He got hit in the mouth. I think all around, we can look at tape and be like, well, should we change this guy? Should we change that guy? Let's see.
Let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. That's what you're saying.
What did I say? Don't throw the baby. Don't what?
Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
No, that's about. Didn't I mess it up the first time?
You did.
So,
I just will say the new college fan society is like, young men can't have one bad game. Like that's like you said. I had a bad day. You know what? You should walk off the job. Like you should be benched and find a new job, fired on the spot. I think that's the element of it's one game. One game that's a top opponent, first time competing in this situation. And it was, bro, he could not breathe, bro. Every time he touched the ball.
Nobody's watching film, Otis. Hold on. First of all, when Noah Kim had time, he made plays.
Yeah.
I understand. Look,
there's also times where he had time and he got hit so much at this point. He expected it too. So some of them passes that obviously should be spot on, he's still thinking oh man, it's coming right now. But to your point, when he had time, we see he is a great quarterback.
The guy was just Big Ten Player of the Week.
Just give his man time.
Big Ten Player of the Week.
Yeah, we have the video. There was several plays, guys.
Somebody joked about that Big Ten Player of the Week when we ain't the Big Ten.
So Noah Kim had blitzes coming, the cowboy, the corner. What do you call it? Oh, Jehuu, you call
it a lot of Corvette big blitz. Yeah.
He threw right into that pressure and made completions on the sideline. I mean, hit Montoya Foster twice and got first downs. There were several good bright spot plays. You say the one where Trey Mosley caught the ball off of the grass, came back for it, and it didn't move. There were offensive plays made by Noah Kim. Okay, if you want to go toe-to-toe and say he sucked. Look, but there was a lot of times he was getting hit. He's got hit low. He got hit high. He got hit, man. He got sacked a ton. So I don't know how many sacks we gave up. I mean, it wasn't none.
Good thing we weren't doing the pancake promotion for giving up sacks.
Right. I think he got sacked 5 times or something like that. It was a lot. There was a lot of sacks in that game the other way for the bad guys against the good guys. So, look, I don't want to belabor that. I love the fact that, Jake, we got to talk about the Jake comment where he says, Jehuu looking like he's going to host Star Talk with Neil deGrasse Tyson. That is awesome. I love the shirt. I said, okay. We got to. Hey, man. So, keeping it lighter, guys, we got to talk.
I saw the Jehuu clap. Hey, Jehu's clapback face was about to be like, I'm about to come right back at it. He was like, woosah, woosah. I saw it.
Yeah, no, hey, Trevor, your question about the late hits, they absolutely, one of them for sure should have gotten called. That was those Pac-12 officials. They're looking for jobs too, by the way. So we'll give them grace, but that was bullshit. You should not allow a quarterback to get hit like that so late. And Noah's lobbying like, hey man, he's limping and everything, and they didn't throw a flag. I wouldn't imagine you'd see that from Big Ten officials, but the Pac-12, as we know, is no longer. So I don't think they'll be working.
The defunct.
That's what George calls it. Blaha calls it the defunct Pac-12. He said that so many times on the air. MSU inducts 9 into the Hall of Fame class on Saturday, guys. Let's talk about something good for Michigan State. Here we go. Otis?
Yeah, so had a pleasure of obviously going to the Hall of Fame induction last Friday. You had some great Hall of Fame class, and Javon being one of our teammates, you got to go support, right? Like there's no way, shape, or form I would have missed that. I wish we would I wish we could capture some video, more so of like Javon's Hall of Fame speech.
Wow.
Classic. Like we talk about going down in the books of, I see why they left him at the end of the speech, because people were like, there was some speeches that was like, whew, like, a couple of times it should have been like, give it to 2-3 minutes quickly. Let's do it. But when you look at Javon's career, like I forget that I was there and I witnessed it. And it was the level and the amount of accomplishments that man put on the back from Michigan State. Like, and for him to still go up there and say, I didn't feel like I deserved to get in here. Like, it was an element of, I felt just a privilege to be in the stands and him pointing us out, like, about the experience, about this university, about the love and why he chose Michigan State. It was a classic speech.
No, you're absolutely right. It was great to, be there to, obviously be there in support of Javon, his family, and all the other inductees that got in there. But it just goes and continue to show. We always talk. The biggest thing I talk about how selfless Javon is, and it's his moment. He's getting in the Hall of Fame, and he's up there thanking everybody else, and putting the spotlight on everybody else. And it just once again continues to show the type of character guy that Javon is. But lots of we had a lot of other Spartan athletes that were inducted there. Congratulations to everybody that were inducted into the MSU Sports Hall of Fame.
Yeah, include Guy Bush from men's soccer, Nicole Bush, women's cross country, track and field, Al Darrow from football, Stan Droback, men's tennis, Rob Ellis, baseball, Nancy Lyons Hall, field hockey and softball, both. David Morgan, from back in my day, man, just a national title wrestler. What's up, Dave? Saw his family when we were checking into the hotel. 94-year-old grandmother, man, blessing. Emily Reagan, rowing, and Javon Ringer, as you guys just talked about so eloquently. So, congratulations to the 2023 MSU Hall of Fame class from MSU Athletics. So, guys, that's a special moment for those folks, and a special moment for all of us. Sally Nogle, longtime trainer at Michigan State, retiring
Doctor.
Years.
Dr. Sally. Dr. Nogle.
Well deserved for Sally. She's the one that got all of us on this call right, every week to get back in playing, and had the right remedies for us, made sure we took care of our bodies when we were, nicked up, bruised, banged up, everything. She was able to take care of us, and, absolutely, really, cool for her to, get that award. And we saw her last week, and I saw her in the parking lot. I was like, Sally, what are you doing? She's like, I'm tailgating. She's like, I'm retired, baby. I'm tailgating. I was like, good for you, Sally. Enjoy your time. Enjoy your time with the family. Enjoy your fall Saturdays.
Great stories of sophomore year. I had a wrist injury. Back then they would tell you, oh, it's a bruise. And then you get to the end of the season, it's like, oh, we got to go have surgery. You know how many times that happened, right? But my specialist that they found, the wrist guy, was in Indianapolis. So Coach said, Dr. Sally, at this time, it was Sally, she was like, I'm going to take you and your family and drive you to Indianapolis in that university minivan.
Yeah.
And one of the only reasons, because back then we didn't have Chick-fil-A in the state of Michigan. Dr. Sally Noble loves Chick-fil-A so much that she drove me just so she could get Chick-fil-A and come back. And when she got the announcement of retirement, she got a helmet, and she got obviously the Sally Noble jersey, 40 years of service. But then Alan got her a gift card at Chick-fil-A. And he was like, I was told that you love Chick-fil-A, and like, here's what you wanted out of everything was a gift card.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but to your point, best neck adjustments by far. Like right
neck,
before,
ribs.
The ribs was painful. Ribs were painful, but she cared for
5 or
us,
6 games without her.
Yeah, she cared for us. She kept she kept Jeff in check for us. Like, He's shaking. I don't want to tell that story about that one with Jehuu.
No more stories.
But she cared for us, man. Like, it was Coach Manning and it was her. Like, that had spent so much time with us. So it's good that she hanging up the cleats, the tape, and she's good at retirement. So congratulations, Dr. Nogle.
Congratulations, guys. We got to, cover the Spartan Dawgs, who had great Sundays this past weekend in the NFL. Jaden Reed with 2 touchdowns, 4 catches, 37 yards in a big moment for him with Green Bay Packers.
I didn't watch it. I'm
Shout
sorry. I didn't watch it, so my bad.
Like we're on group chats and everybody's commenting on it. No, this is radio silent. They worked the man so hard on Saturday. He just,
bro. Hey, that's what I'm saying, man. Look, yep. I put do not disturb on foot.
Another one that the state of Washington came into Michigan and did work because
at least we had it. We almost had it. The Lions, man. We were competing, but
look at that picture. How great is that?
I like
picture?
that.
How great is that
That's
picture?
The first time Hutch got his hand on the boy.
Oh, that's a good one. There's a it was personal. That was a good one.
He said, "You took my spot in New York."
There it is.
No, that's great. K9 came in and he had 2 touchdowns on the ground. Help clinching the win for Seattle against Detroit.
Big game for them. Big win for the Seahawks, and big game for Jaden Reed and both Kenneth Walker III. Guys, look, before we go, we have to talk about Otis is participating in Dancing with the Local Stars Friday, October 6th.
Hey.
Plaza Hotel in Lansing.
That boy Otis, Mama, we made it.
Yeah, and there's a QR code right there for donation, and you can cast your vote.
Vote for your boy.
You gotta vote for Otis. This is part of the nation. We gotta vote for our boy Otis Wiley. We gotta vote. We gotta get this QR code.
We don't have a picture.
It's gonna be on our.
I'm glad. I hate that picture. You talking about the headshot? No, don't bring that headshot up, man. That thing terrible. I gotta go get me a new one.
Man.
Yeah, that's that like. Jeez.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Look, that's I did this a couple 10, 12 years ago. It was for the Board, Water, and Light. It was a fundraiser. And matter of fact, my partner was Lauren H. And so now I have a professional dancer, and I legit first practice stubbed my toe. I felt like I needed to call Dr. Sally. I was like, man down, trainer.
Do you got the dancing shoes too, or are you just wearing regular dress shoes?
I got the dancing shoes.
You got the dancing shoes?
I gotta look the part, man. I gotta look the part, baby.
Oh,
man. And nothing he do.
Yeah, when I dance.
We do have another football ticket giveaway, so definitely click the link in our bios on Instagram or Twitter /X. Enter to win 4 Lower Bowl tickets for the homecoming game this weekend against Maryland.
Correction. Tickets, yeah. Correction. Tickets. Correction.
Okay, not Lower Bowl.
They're all a mixture. You feel? There'll be a mixture.
But we'll take care of our.
But we'll take care of our people. So
we'll take care. We're
gonna take care of y'all people.
Shout out to Rolanda for handing them out last year.
Yeah, that was a smooth old process. I appreciate you, Rolanda. Sorry, I had to make y'all walk to the Spartan Stadium. My mistake.
I took care of her on our wall. Since everybody took off with all those big trucks y'all got rolling around.
Big trucks.
They got Bigfoots running around here. It's crazy. I mean, somebody got some money somewhere. All right, look. So we're going to you have to enter by 11 a.m. on Friday, and the ticket pickup will be at where the pool was. It's covered up now. That's where the tickets will be picked up. It will give you all those details if you do happen to win. So definitely enter to win those tickets. While you're on the link, get some of that new This is Sparta merch. Hats have dropped. The temperature's dropping a little bit. You need them hats for the fall. So they're online there as well. Don't forget the Spartan Brew newsletter Monday through Friday at 6 a.m. Guys, final thoughts before we take off and wrap this show up.
Well, first, my mama's in the chat, so I just got in trouble because she just said, when was I going to tell my mama? So My bad, mama. I'm sorry, mama.
You didn't tell her you were dancing?
Man, look, I didn't even know I was in that mug, man. To be honest with you. I got you, mama.
Wiley?
You know, hey, things just. Oh, I love you, mama. I love you, mama. Yeah, great. Obviously, I think this is an element of I needed this to discuss and just talk through some stuff because, like, clearly I was in a mode or mood of just like not defeated, but it's just why are we going through this? Question those things, but there's light tomorrow. God's mercies are new every morning. We got to still support these guys, and we'll turn the tide here. But I'm looking forward to going to see practice tomorrow and just showing love, just showing support. Not even going there and seeing how it is, what they're doing, just to be present to show that, look, man, we still got you guys' back. When it's raining, when it's shining, we got you, bro. So I think the element of I needed this to have the conversation with my dogs and talking through with the Spartan. This is Sparta family.
Right. Oda hit it on the head. Coming together, it's not just for, the viewers there, it's for us as well. We can cry together. We can laugh together. We already talked about that. Otis, I'll be there with you at practice tomorrow to show these boys support that us former dogs, we have their back. We appreciate what they're doing. And, let's keep going strong. Tomorrow night, I am the keynote speaker at the Downtown Coaches Club dinner, hosted by the president, Harriet Dean there. She asked me.
Harriet, let's get it, Chew.
What you gonna talk about, Chew? What you talking about, Chew? What you gonna be talking about?
Man, I want to see the jacket, the coat you wear, man. Get us some pictures for that. We'll put it on the social platforms.
I'm just gonna be in Spartan gear. It's casual. It's casual.
Chew, show up with the full gear of Michigan State with the helmet and the jersey. Like, put me in, coach. All right.
As we digress, let's just put a bow on it, fellas. Hey, that was a good show for everybody. Everybody for Jehuu Caulcrick, Otis Wiley. I'm Jason Strayhorn. This is Sparta MSU. Have a good night. God bless you. Go green.
Go white.
This is Sparta MSU is a combined presentation of Playfly Sports Properties and Michigan State Sports Properties. The show is produced by Tony LaBarbera, Tony Gustella, and Process Driven Consulting. Additional support is provided by Brendan Duravage. On-location technical support provided by Good Fruit Video. Be sure to follow our host Jason Strayhorn, Jehuu Caulcrick, and Otis Wiley on social media. To stay up to date with all the latest This is Sparta news, please like and subscribe by visiting our link tree and tell a friend to do the same. Thank you for your support, and as always, go green.